Kabalita ghana vishwarupa kiranavalya Arunachala paramatman Aruno bhava Chitta kanja suvikasaya Karturajnaya prapyate phalam Karma kim param karma tajjadam Kriti maho dadhau patana karanam Phalamashashvatam gati nirodhakam Ishvararpitam nechaya kritam Chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam Kaya vangmana karyamuttamam Pujanam japashchintanam kramat Jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam Ashtamurti bhrit deva pujanam So a life, karma yoga, is the life of a person who has discerned that his real purpose is only moksha, a freedom from all sense of lack, centered on himself or herself. And since the lack is centered on oneself, but one is actually free, therefore the only solution is through knowledge, not through karma. But to gain that knowledge needs a certain preparedness, and for that preparedness, one has to take karma as a means. But the difference is, it is done as an offering unto Ishvara and accepting whatever is the outcome as a prasada coming from the altar of Ishvara. So karma yoga will become a prayerful life. Not a life of prayer, a prayerful life. So whatever you do is connected to Ishvara. Nothing is unconnected to Ishvara. And for that to happen, Ishvara must be very well understood as something I am intimately connected with. Not by association, by mind, by thought. That intimate connection, we said, is you are a devotee first and a devotee last. Which means you are a devotee because you recognized that what you call I is not anything, any of this is not really me or mine. It's all given, and the Veda says the giver is the given in the form of given. Therefore, the minute I say I, Ishvara has to be included. Otherwise, there is no mind, there is no body, there is no thought, there is no senses. Everything is Ishvara. Therefore, I am intimately connected with Ishvara. If this is where I want to be for Karma Yoga, how do I don't even have a relationship with Ishvara. How do I get such an intimate connection? I have to grow this relationship. And that can only be done by means of karma. Karma is of three types. Either, based on using the various limbs of the body, or just speech, or mind. Mind plus speech, or mind plus speech plus limbs. These are the things. Right? And then we saw, these are, how do they represent in the culture? Pujanam, japaha, chintanam. Chintanam, I said inquiry, that's not enough. I should have said more. So I'm expanding Chintanam a little more. Chintanam has to include Dhyanam. So the word Chintanam can go both ways. It can be inquiry, it can mean contemplation. And in the context, contemplation will fit more. The word Chintanam can go both ways. So what would that mean? We will say it is, Dhyanam means the mind has to dwell on a chosen topic for a length of time. What do you mean by dwell on a chosen topic for a length of time? It should be sajatiya vritti pravaha. Vritti means a thought. Pravaha means flow. Thoughts, one thought is only momentary. So there is a flow of thoughts. And what should the nature of the thoughts be? They should belong to the same species, means connected to the same subject matter. Sajatiya, samana jatiya. Samana becomes sa in certain compounds. Like sahodara. Sahodara means what? Saha udara. No, that won't work. Give me. No, sahodara, not sodara. Sahodara. Sahodara is different. Sodara, not sahodara. Sodara. Samana udara. Udara means what? Womb. Correct. So, sa udara, samana udara. Sharing the same mother. Therefore, he becomes sodara. Okay? Sahodara will become it will come a different way. It won't be the same meaning. But samana becomes sa. Saha can also become sa. Both possibilities. So here it is samana. Okay? So samana vritti pravaha. A flow, like a river. What's the fact about a river? A river flows. You went to Rishikesh, you saw Ganga, you went after 5 years. Same Ganga is flowing. 1 minute later, same Ganga is flowing. But it's same. It's not same, but it's same. Samana. Samana vritti. Or you're depressed. What happens in depression? You're stuck in the same thought. That thought won't leave you. Keeps coming. Or you are anxious, worried. What happened to my father? What happened to my father? What happened to him? Don't know. Because some accident has happened, we don't know who's gone, who's survived. This is what? Samana vritti pravaha. But that cannot be called dhyanam. It has to be Brahma Vishayaka, Ishvara Vishayaka. Thinking, worrying cannot become dhyanam because the Vishaya is not Ishvara. So the thought is a stream of thoughts connected to Ishvara. Same thought, maybe similar thoughts, both possibilities. And how should it be? Okay, it's same thoughts, but not interleaved, not spaced out, not separated by other thoughts. So, vijatiya pratyaya anantarita. Vijatiya pratyaya anantarita, not separated. Vijati means different species, different object. So, same object thoughts not disturbed or not interleaved by a thought of something else. What does it essentially mean? You retain one thought and one thought and one thought. Object is same or similar. Why am I saying similar? How to keep the mind in the same thought all the time? Therefore, first step is pujanam. In pujanam, what is central to the puja? Ishvara. But how many activities you have? You start. You have to get up, take a shower. Then if you have the olden way of doing things, you step out. You pick your flowers or leaves. You get water, you grind the sandal paste, you do that. You make your dravyams. If you're doing Abhisheka, you have to prepare all that. While doing all this, your mind is still connected because you're doing it for Ishvara, but a little off. Then you have to cook Naivedyam, again Ishvara connected. Then you have to prepare the lamps for lighting up. So all the activities, so it's not one activity, it's numerous activities which we are used to. Easier for the mind to do different things. Say one thing, it won't. So training is what? Not entirely unrelated, but not entirely same. Connected, but not same. First step, pujanam. Okay? Japa, you repeat. You repeat loudly. You repeat not very long, generally. It can be whole Veda, but generally start with a small mantra. Again, how do you improve your japa? Small mantra, little longer, even longer if you want. But japa has to be same repetition. Japa, muttering the same. Then what? Then comes chintanam. So what is chintanam now? Drop the voice. No limb movement. Till now you are free to move your limbs in pujanam. In japa, it was only the mouth working. Now drop that too. So the mind has no other avenue to go. It has to be with one thought. It has to repeat a thought. It has to contemplate around one Vishaya. The mind can't go away. So the first thing is to train the mind, not the other things. The mind has to be trained to retain one area of thinking, not going here and there. All right? This is also called upasana. Upa samipe asanam. Sitting close to Bhagavan through your mind. Upasana or dhyanam. All right? When you understand more that dhyanam changes towards a contemplative dhyanam. Vichara. Now chintanam becomes vichara. Nididhyasanam it will go up to. Wherein what you know, you are bringing back to bear upon your mind. It's not repetitive necessarily. But it is centered on Atma at that time. So all the way, it is chintanam. So this is, see, the Karma Yoga life, when you live it, Vyavahara, that helps to manage your mind going towards things where it shouldn't. Raga Dvesha, manage, likes and dislikes have to be managed. That is done through doing what has to be done. What about these, dhyanam especially? It is about removing the natural tendency of the mind to be dispersed, to go all over. So the first one is called chitta mala. Mala means impurity. That's why chitta shodhakam. Shodhanam is clearing it, cleaning. Shuddhi shodhaka. Now in dhyanam what happens? Chitta naishchalyam. So you need a mind which can dwell, which can abide in a given object or thought, where you want it to be, not where it wants to be. When it goes where it wants to be, then you become depressed. You become anxious. When you take it where you want it to be, you are in charge. So you need both these. You need a mind which does not take you for a ride after likes and dislikes, and you also need a mind which can stay with one thing, because to understand the vastu, you need to stay on one thing for a length of time. This capacity is necessary. Necessary. The mind by nature will try to move away. Right? So this is what pujanam japa chintanam kramat. I told you. It is uttamaha in all are required. But finally what you need is you don't need to do no karma, because karma kim param. Karma tat jadam. Therefore, finally, what do you need? Chintanam alone, contemplation alone. But to get there, you'll say, I'll straight away to Chintanam. It won't work. You have to grow into it by doing pujanam or its equivalents, vikalpa. Chintanam, kramat. Japa, chintanam. Right? Then what? Jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam. That's where we were. Ashtamurti bhrit deva pujanam. So what is the best of puja? What's the best altar for puja? If you say, this is my altar for puja, this is not an altar for puja. Which means, this is Ishvara, this is not Ishvara. But what's the truth I want to get on? Everything is Ishvara. Therefore, what is the best pujanam? Whole Jagat is your altar. Wherever you see only Ishvara. That will be, see, this is what Jagata Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam. Jagataha, Shashti. Jagataha Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam. What is Ishadhi? Jagat eva Ishaha iti dhi. I see some people who know Sanskritam, so more Sanskritam comes out, okay? So, Jagata Ishadhi Yukta, being endowed with the mindset that the whole world is Ishvara. What is Ishvara. Jagatadhi Yukta, endowed with that. Sevanam. What is Sevanam now? Sevanam can mean your vision of the world, when you see the world, it is Ishvara. Sevanam can also mean contributing, doing something, experiencing it. So suppose I say, will you do chayapana sevanam? What does it mean? It doesn't mean you're going to serve the cup of tea. You're going to take it. Right? So sevanam has multiple meanings. Bhaja sevayam. Seva doesn't mean seva there. Seva means commitment. When I say bhaja govindam, it doesn't mean you have to do this, jalra. You have these symbols. That is called jalra. So if you do that, or you could just be thinking, all possibilities exist. You could be reading out Bhagavan. Reading Bhagavan Bhashyakara's Bhashyam is also sevanam, in a way. Therefore, understand the word sevanam has a wider implication. It is not just doing seva, etc. The seva itself is an attitude. Again, seva really is an attitude. More than what you do, it's your attitude. So here what? Jagata Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam. So I'm saying first step is your vision has lifted or changed, wherein you don't see anything other than Ishvara, at least at one level. You start seeing things and you see the whole world is a manifestation of Ishvara. How it is, you don't understand still. You can't say, I'm Ishvara. But you have this vision still that everything is Ishvara. And this comes sometimes just by it seeping in to you through the culture, which you will see in simple people. If you go to Rishikesh Ashram, we study Vedanta, but there'll be a lady who comes there. You see the devotion with which she will offer a lamp to Ganga. It's a different order of devotion. They don't necessarily study anything, but they have total Shraddha that this Ganga Maya is our mother. That Shraddha is enormous there. You go further, Uttarkashi, you will find it more. No? That attitude of the people is, this is Bhagavan. So this Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam. When you see Ganga, you see it's Ishvara. When you look at any Vibhuti, you see Ishvara. This is what Bhagavan, when Arjuna asks, tell me, by what glories can I know you? Tell me in detail. What does Krishna tell Arjuna? He says, in detail, I cannot tell. Because everything is my glory. There is nothing other than my glory. If you understand that, excellent. If you don't, okay, I will give you a vikalpa. Life of vikalpa. Options. All right. When you look at mountains, the tallest among them, Himalaya, you remember me. When you look at Ganga as a river, you remember me. When you look at trees, you look at Ashwatha, you remember me. These are all what? Because already in your mind you have a certain attitude towards these. You think they are exalted. So you use that exalted idea to bring Ishvara into your mind. But finally what? Yadyad vibhutimat sattvam Srimad Urjita eva. Whatever, wherever you see glory. See, for a person who is living by the ocean side all the time, the ocean may not be a glory. For a person who is living in the Uttarakhand, among the mountains may not be a glory. But whatever to you seems to have glory, wherever you see glory, for a scientist, his glory might be in seeing a virus. I found it. That glory also belongs to whom? Wherever you see glory, understand that glory belongs to me alone. Which means anything, anywhere which is glorious is Ishvara. What is not glorious, what about that? What about that? You told among trees I am Ashwatha. What about mango tree? Hey, since you asked me for a short list, I am giving you a few. Otherwise, I told you first itself. Bhutanam adihi madhyam antam ahameva. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all that is here. What else can I tell you? If you ask me further, I have to give some things like this. So the vision is everything is Ishvara. But intermediately, you can choose an altar. What's the best? Every altar is Ishvara. Jagata Ishadhi Yukta Sevanam. This is the vision. Now what else does Bhagavan say in the Gita? He says that, I created this world. I manifested this world, including yajnas, including ritual worship, etc. So that what? The human beings can do them and gain a better status. Third chapter. Okay? So, we created the world with all these. Verse is not coming to my head. Sahayajñah prajasrishtva purovachah prajapati anena prasavishyadhvam eshavostvishta kamadhuk. Let them become the wish-fulfilling cow for you. Whatever you ask for, you'll get by relating with Ishvara. All right? Now, what does that mean? He says, Devan bhavayatanena te devaha bhavayantu vaha. Parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyatha. This is 3rd chapter, 11th verse. Look, the Devas means the deities, Parameshvara, in different aspects. They all endow favors on you. They bestow favors on you. And you can't just take those favors and not do anything. You must give back. So they do a favor, you do a favor. You live a life of harmony, a symbiotic relationship. I help you, you help me. Both have a role to play. With whom are we having this relationship? With Ishvara. So you have to do what you have to do. That's what is Karma Yoga again. You have to contribute. Where you claim, where you consume, you have to contribute. And, if you don't do that, you are a thief. Because you are taking things and you don't give back what you have to give back. That's what it calls. Tena eva saha. He's a thief. And those who do this, You do what has to be done. This is talked in a religious milieu. Therefore, you do a yajna. In the yajna, you have to offer certain things to the fire. You offer it, and what is left over, you partake of as prasadam. You don't keep first for yourself and then offer the remaining. The idea is you do what is your duty, and whatever comes to you, you take as prasadam in a wider context. This example of yajna, etc., is purely because a person in the Vedic lifestyle understands the example well, which means be a contributor. In any situation, every nut, every bolt has a contribution to make. So, to understand this, Swamiji would animate. You have a large machine working, or you have a piston working, it has to go back and forth. Now, suppose the piston had a mind of its own, and the nuts and bolts also have a mind of their own. Now, the nuts and bolts say, who gets all the credit? This piston moving back and forth. I have to always stay put in one place. Why I should stay? I think I should also move. Like the piston, I should also move. I will also get some credit. I will do something. I will also do work like him. Or you take another example. You are playing football. Okay? Goalkeeper says, why should I stand behind all the time? I will also go forward. Guess what will happen? If the goalkeeper goes forward, he'll concede all goals on the side. And if the forwards come back, you won't score any goals. Each person has a place. Whether he's center forward or he's forward or his defense. He has a role. He should not exceed that role. If he does, there will be chaos. Therefore, swakarmana tabhyarcha. Swadharme nidhanam shreya. Doing your own duty is better than doing somebody else's duty very well. Because your duty means your contribution, you are in a place at a time to make a contribution. That contribution is the most important. So often it can happen, you're in a situation where you feel you can do other fellow's work easily and very well. But that is not what is advised. Whatever the other person do, let him do. What is your job, you do it well. Whatever is your role, don't try to grab or take others' roles in either way, because you want it or because you think they're not good enough. No. Stick to the knitting. Stick to what you have to do well. And by doing that, you will grow. By doing your duty, you will grow. Okay? So, yajna, smartha karma pujanam. Yajna also is a pujanam. Now look, there is another way of looking at yajna. Okay? Especially for people like us who are primarily committed to moksha purushartha. You imagine now, Paramatma is here. He is here, shining as life. And you have to give offerings to the Paramatma here. What do you offer is brought in by your senses. Therefore, when you see something, you say the sight being brought in is an offering to Bhagavan. When you hear something, you say it's an offering to Bhagavan. When you taste something, you say it's an offering to Bhagavan. This is what Gita Acharya says. He says, Shrotra, Daivameva parino, 1 second. Shrotradini indriyanyanye sanyamagnishu juhvati. Shabdadin vishayanyanye indriyagnishu juhvati. 2 ways. One is you look at whatever you're offering, what you're objectifying. Therefore, what should be offered to Bhagavan should be appropriate, which means you don't listen to unnecessary gossip, etc. Because that cannot be an offering to Bhagavan. You don't talk unnecessarily, that cannot be an offering to Bhagavan. This is one way. The other way of doing yajna is what? You offer only what is to be offered. You prevent offering sometimes. You close your eyes. That's also one way of offering. You don't let things which should not go in, go in. Means again what? Having a discipline at the level of mind and senses. This becomes your yajna. One is a ritual. In every ritual, what's involved? There is a giving up of something. Dravya parityaga. In a Vedic ritual, you have to give up something. And you have to say also, na mama. What I offered is not mine. That not mine is very important. Giving up the ownership is very important. So there is giving up. There is a denial of something, my ownership. Now, you deny the objects which are not useful entry. Extending the yajna analogy. Therefore, Gita 4th chapter will present you disciplines as yajnas. Good place to look at for that. What disciplines can be done like a yajna, figuratively a yajna, centered on myself. No. So everything, every sense perception is an offering. This is what you will hear in the Shiva Stotra. Atmatvam. Shiva is the Atma, very self. Who is Parvati? Girija Matihi. Your buddhi, your thinking is Girija, Parvati. Who are the followers Shiva Ganas? Parijanaha, Pranaha. All your Indriyas are the followers. What is it? Where is the temple? Shariram Griham Pujate. This body is a temple. And what are the bhogas, upacharas you offer? Vishaya Upabhoga Rachana. And what is samadhi? Sleep. Nidra Samadhi Sthitihi. What is pradakshina, going around? Whatever you walk, sancharaha padayoho pradakshina vidihi. And what is stotra? Sarva giraha. All that you speak is a stotra. And what is further? Yadyat karma karomi tat tadakhilam he shambho tava aradhanam. Whatever I do, O Lord, is an offering to you. Because devotee first, devotee last. If this is your attitude, your whole day, day after day, becomes what? A worship of the Lord. You don't need to go to Varanasi. You don't need to go to Kumbh Mela. Every Mela will come to you. Because that's your attitude. You become a Tirtha, Atma Tirtha. This is the attitude that we want to grow into. So, when you have this, when you see Ishvara everywhere in the Jagat, there is no Jagat apart from Ishvara. That is called Jagatadhi, Ishadhi, Yukta Sevanam. Both I have covered. What you do and your vision is Ishadhi. Jagati Ishadhi. All right. Ashtamurti Bhrit Deva Pujanam. What is this seeing Jagat as Ishvara? It is the Pujanam of what altar? Jagat. What kind of altar? Ashtamurti Bhrit. Ashta means what? 8. Murti, form. What is Ashtamurti now? What is the 8 formed? It is the 5 elements. 5 elements. Akasha, space, Vayu. See, we will say space, etc. But you should understand it like this. What is your world? 5-fold. What is the 5-fold world? 5 senses. Correct? What is the sense of sound associated with one element? Akasha. Akasha. All right. What is next is what? Sense of touch is associated with what? Vayu. Sense of sight associated with what? Agni. Sense of taste, water. Sense of smell, earth. Now, these words, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, they don't in your mind, don't translate it as space, fire, water. Then the meaning doesn't come to you. You understand these are talking of the 5 senses. Each has been associated with a guna. Now you have covered with 5 your entire sensual perception, sensory perception. It's covered. right? Panchabhuta. Then two more you add. One is Surya, the sun. One is Chandrama. Sun can be taken as standing in for all the stars. And Chandrama can be taken as standing in for all satellites. Totally between the two you cover the entire universe of heavenly bodies. And then the eighth one is the most interesting. It is you. That's the most interesting. There is no Ishvara minus you. There is no Ishvara without you. It includes you. And in our temples, the sight, the eye level of the Lord, when they do it right, is supposed to be with you. You look at Dakshinamurti, you should see Dakshinamurti almost like that. It's you. Unless you include yourself, Ishvara is incomplete. If you include yourself and the whole world is covered, what remains? All that is here is Ishvara. That is why Ashtamurti Brit Deva Pujanam. You include yourself in Ishvara and you do worship. That's the way it is. This is what you'll hear in Dakshinamurti Stotra, 9th verse. Bhurambhan Syanalo Nilom Baramaharnatho Himamshuf Puman Ityabhati Characharatmakam. Characharatmaka, both living and non-living, sentient and insentient. Yasyaiva Murtyashtakam. Right? Nanyat Kinchana Vidyate Vimrishatam. There is nothing other than this. Vimrishatam, for those who understand. Yasmat Parasmat Vibhoho. Who is that? Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. Dakshinamurti is looked upon as Ashtamurti. Same Ashtamurti. So Ashtamurti Brit Deva Pujanam. This would be the most exalted Pujanam. Now you can extend. Pujanam we said is Kayikam. This Pujanam, where you see everything is Ishvara, can be extended. It's an idea. It's a understanding. Therefore, it can pervade all three. Kayikam, Vachikam, Manasam. Don't confine it to only a physical. Because even when you do it with the mind, this is the best. Where you can see Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. That's the idea. This is where we want to go or grow into. In terms of understanding. Alright? Then what? Uttamastavat Uchchamandatah Chitta Janjapa Dhyanamuttamam. Uttamastavat Uchchamandatah Chitta Janjapaha Japadhyanam Uttamam. Uttamastava. What is Uttamastava now? There are two ways can be can be looked at in two ways. What are the two ways? Stava. Stava is a praise. Stava is a praise. Stuti. Uttama stava, you can look upon it as see, Sanskrit has this brilliant way of looking at compounds, samasas, in different ways. When more than two words combine, to give a meaning, the combination has a meaning other than the constituent words. There is a relationship between them. This is called a samasa or a compound. So, Uttama stava has two words. Uttamaha, stavaha. Now, Uttama can mean the Lord. Uttama can mean the Lord. Then Shashti Tatpurusha. Uttamasya stavaha. The praise of the Lord. which is going to be what? One kind of Vachikam karma. We are now comparing what is exalted in Vachikam karma. Uttamastavat, Japaha is better. This is one way of looking at Uttamastava. Uttama means now Ishvara. And the praise of Ishvara is Uttamastava. The second way is Stava. It's a praise. And it is an exalted praise. Uttamascha asau stava. Karmadharaya. So then, if you want to look at it that way, then what is it now? So then you can say, which prayer is more exalted? Vaidika prayer is more exalted. That's the meaning a commentator takes for it. A Vaidika stuti is more exalted. Therefore, if you see, this is something we have to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that other prayers are less. But given the Veda, the status of Veda is a pramanam. Therefore, if you have a Vaidika mantra like Om Namah Shivaya, you have a mantra like Om Namo Narayanaya, the pramanatvam, the pramanyam of these mantras is different level than saying some mantra I give you just like that. See, anything I can say, Om Nityaya Namaha. Nothing wrong with it. But it is not a mantra. Mantra technically is mananat trayate iti mantra. Just by chanting it will do something for you. So they will say even if you don't know what you are saying, if you just chant it will do something for you. This is Shraddha. So just the Panchakshari has its own value. Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Shadakshari, Om Namah Shivaya, 6 syllables, has a different story. So any Vaidika stotra has got an extra value. So the commentator says Uttamastava can be taken as Vaidika prayers, potentially. Which means Sri Sukta, Narayana Sukta, Rudra, these are all Uttamastava in that sense. Then what will happen now? Now somebody will say, Swamiji, so I don't want to do any other stotra now. I also want to do Veda. This is a problem. Veda should be respected. If you don't know how to chant properly, don't learn from YouTube. YouTube never corrects you. The problem with YouTube is you will sing along, but only you know what you sing along. Bhagavan may tolerate you, others may not. Okay? Because Bhagavan is always compassionate. He is Karunamaya, Karuna Purna Sudhabdhi he is. So he understands you have a pressure to chant Vedic mantra only. And you have a pressure to learn Vedic mantra also. I like it, Swamiji. This is a common thing nowadays. Everybody wants to learn Vedic mantra. For what? And you will see, you open a TV channel, they will have awful chanting of Vedic mantra sometimes. Awful is the word. And this, for a traditional person, is like cutting the tongue of Bhagavan. Veda is considered tongue of Bhagavan, You don't do that. So understand, every prayer is a prayer valid. Nothing wrong with it. If you are blessed to have some Vedic mantras, you know it well and you like it, helps you engage, great. See, even if it's Vedic mantra, how many of you would chant Sri Suktam? Here, a few of you. Do you follow what Sri Suktam says? It's just Shraddha. You chant the same Lalita Ashtotram or Sahasranam or Trishati you chant. The meanings, if you know some Sanskritam, you will see it. You can't miss it. If you have enough Sanskritam and some knowledge of Vedanta, you can't miss the meaning. I say, Niragaya Namaha. You can't miss it. One free from Raga. Raga Mathanye Namaha. One who destroys Raga. Right? Like this, each name you can see the meaning. Right? So I say, each word can help you just resolve. Whereas you chant the whole Sri Sukta, because you don't know the meaning and you know it very well, your mind can go all over the place. The more familiar you are with the stotra, the more your mind is likely to move, because it does not need to stay there. Sometimes I find that familiarity makes your mind wander. Vishnu Sahasranama, you have chanted 25 years, you chant it, and when you finish, you don't know when you finished. But you have processed a lot of other factors in that time. Does it happen to you or not? The more familiar with the stotra, the more the mind can move. So sometimes I would do this. I felt it is better to change the stotra every few days. Not now, long ago. Because then I'm challenged. I have to know what the meaning. My interest is to know the meaning. So my mind will stay there. But if I do the same every day, it will go away. Now, Sri Sukta chant, do you get anything out of it? Or it's purely Shraddha? I would say, what helps you relate better with Ishvara? Don't take it just because Veda, I have to do that alone. You chant Rudram, how much of it do you understand? The more you understand, the more you will relate. Rudram is a fantastic stotram. It connects you and tells you Jagata Ishadhi, that it will give you. It gives you that. You want to know more? Pick up a book. There's a book on Rudram by Pujya Swami. There are 45 tapes on it. You can listen to it. Excellent. But I'm saying the more you know, the better you are. And if you want to chant Vedic mantras, try to learn from somebody who knows. And chant without errors. If you chant with errors, it is better not to chant. Swaras are involved in Vedas, not just words. There is intonations required. And if we don't have them, it's an insult to the Veda. The Vedas survived because there is a very big tradition to maintain the Vedas as they are. Taittiriya Upanishad will tell that to this day, what you receive is the same Veda that came because the sound is maintained. So we don't want to be the people who break that. All right? But here I'm saying, Uttamastava can mean Vedic prayers, can mean other prayers. Now, Pujya Swami takes it a little differently. He takes Uttama as the Lord. So Uttamastava will become what? The praise of the Lord. See, every sukta, Sri Sukta, Purusha Sukta, Narayana Sukta, Ayushya Sukta, Bhagya Sukta. Sukta means Sushtu Uktaha. Suktaha. It's a praise. All these are praises. Alright? So Stava will include them. And what about Vishnu Sahasranama? That's also included. What about Lalita Sahasranama? That's also included. What about Trishati? Included. What about Rudram? Included. You can include now all the stotras. Whatever you find in your stotra manjari. One big Brihat Stotra Ratnakara. It's a Ratnakara means ocean. Ocean of stotras. All of them are what? Stava. Now, Stavat. Uttamastavat. Uttamasya Stavat. More than, these. And how do you chant them? Uttamastavat. Rather than just a praise, a japa is better. Uttamastavat, japaha uttamam. What kind of japas are possible? Uccha mandataha. This is the nature of japa. Uccha means loudly. Uchchaihi. Uchchaihi. Loudly. Did I hear Ujjayi? Ujjayi is not the word. Uchchaihi. Yeah. Ujjayi I think comes in pranayama if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So, Uchchaihi means loudly. So, what we do in a temple? Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. That's all Uchchaihi. Then you have Upamsu. Upamsu means you hear, your neighbor doesn't hear. That much alone. Then the next step is you go silent. It goes only inside. There is no external expression at all. It's mental. So Uttamastavat, Uchcha, Manda is Upamsu, low. Or you can go gradation. See, that is what I demonstrated to you in this morning meditation. Everything has a purpose, okay? So, Om Namah Shivaya, go down, 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 down. Then say chant mentally. So you know what's happening? I'm making you repeat. First was Stava. Karuna Purna Sadhabdhe is tava. Done loudly. Then what? Japa. Uchchaihi japaha. Namah Shivaya. Then what? Mandata. Not one level, gradually coming down. So your mind just resolves slowly. Without your knowing, it will resolve into quietude. Then you do Manasa Japa. So here what? Uttamastavat Uchcha Mandataha. Tasil Taha. Uchcha Mandataha Chittajam Japadhyanam Uttamam. Chittajam means born in the mind alone, not outside. Japa, which is now purely manasa. You started Vachikam karma, what is better? But where are you ending? Where are you dovetailing it into? Vachikam karma is dovetailing into manasa. Pujanam dovetailed into japa. You see, it's all not like transition very rough. It's a smooth transition. So, Uchchamandataha Chittajam Japaha. What is jap? Not Japaha. Chittajam Japadhyanam. When we chant, we stop there for tune. But Chittajam Japa is okay for chanting, not Sanskrit wise. Chittajam Japadhyanam Uttamam. This is a very nice set of verses for your Sanskrit homework. It's not hard. You can easily work on them. And you have to see how many sentences are involved. Chittajam Japadhyanam Uttamam. So now what does it mean? Compared to loud japa, a lower japa, compared to that, a mental japa is better. See where we are heading, we are heading towards the silence which is ourselves. So that's why Pujanam, Japa, Chintanam, Kramat. Within japa again, you are going down to Manasam japa. Because keeping the goal in view, but don't think that is better or superior. It's a gradation, I told you, it's a ladder. Each step is very important. Don't try to go to the top step. If you fall, you will fall badly. Literally, because you will not reach there and you will not go further and you will give up. Therefore, if my mind doesn't stay, start with Pujanam. Make it stay. At least with a variety of things it stays. Then go to Japa. Then go to Dhyanam. Then alone Chintanam. That's why contemplation, if we do Nidhyasanam, it's at the end of the meditation. What's the best time for meditation? Right after puja, Kayikam karma. These are all hints for you to follow. So Swamiji, how much time can I find in the morning? When can you get up? Morning is good for so many things. You have to prioritize what you will do. Morning is good for a walk. Morning is good for, yoga. Morning is good for sleeping. No. That is ragadvesha. Okay? Night is good for sleeping. Sandhya kala. The time when the sun rises, a little before, little after, are considered very good times for prayer. That's why they call it Sandhya Vandanam. Sandhya Vandanam is not Sandhyayaha Vandanam. It is not Tatpurusha. It is Sandhya Kala Vandanam. Sandhya means juncture, a junction. Sandhi, junction. Sandhya is that in that junction, time, junction between what? Day and night, night and day. And in between, noon is also called a junction. Therefore, Pratas Sandhya, Madhyamika Sandhya, Sayam Sandhya. 3 Sandhyas. And what is the Veda what is Veda's directive? Ahar Sandhyam Upasita. Every day, day after day. No Sunday, no holiday. Day after day. Ahar Sandhyam Upasita. At that time you pray. To this day, my mother will not, if anything else will not be done. No eating during Sandhya. No unnecessary talking during Sandhya. Sandhya is the time to light the lamp. She will not light it earlier. She will not light it later. She has to wait, sunset time, around. It's still sun, I won't light now. Come on, light, we'll do some. Wait, it's not time yet. Has to. See, this is their order. Life is so orderly. For us, everything is vikalpa even there. For them, it is not yet. They can see this is the only thing to be done at that time. Even if you are sick, they will try to get up at Sandhya Kala, because you should not be sleeping during Sandhya. You should welcome the Lord's Son when he comes in the morning, and you should bid him goodbye when he's going. You shouldn't be caught sleeping at the time. Therefore, it's not a good time for sleeping. So, that's the time. So, what did we see now? Chittajam japadhyanam. Now, japadhyanam. A contention may be raised. What is japa? You repeat. So, the japadhyanam, this is still in japa. Vachika went to, this speech alone went to manasam karma. In this now, it can just be chanting. People ask, Swamiji, what should we focus on when we do japa? It's a very normal question. So when you say Om Namah Shivaya, or you're doing Gayatri Japa, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha, what should you focus on? Should I focus on Surya Devata? Because Devata is Surya for that mantra. When you do Shiva, you should think of Shiva. What should you do? You can't do two things at a time. The mind can only do one thing at a time. This is the truth of the mind. Therefore, you just, when it is Shabdatmaka, you stay with the sound. So it's as though you're hearing somebody say, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. You're not saying. That impact is the same if you do it yourself. So you know it's not breathing involved, it's not voice involved, it's just the thought, Om Namah Shivaya, or whatever it is. So it's only sound. Before you start the japa, you do dhyanam. You think, you bring Ishvara into your mind, you bring out the devotee in yourself, you prepare yourself. That is why all the talk before japa. So that your mind is tuned. You already have Ishvara in your view. Now you just chant, the word is enough. So now, this japa, is it just repetition of a thought? Or is contemplation involved? Both can be called chintanam. At the first level, it is just a thought repeated. At the next level, it is the thought. And see, suppose I say, monkey. What happened in your head? Is it just a word? Monkey. Car. What happened to your head? In your head? Car. You got your own car in your picture, okay? Your means not what you own, but some car. It's not that there is no thought. When I say car, some car will come to your head. It may be Maruti, it could be any car, but some car will come or not. Do you have to make an effort for that? Giraffe. What happens? It's not that you think, oh, I have to think of giraffe. It just comes. This is the power of words. Vagartha viva sampraktau. Word and meaning are tightly coupled. You cannot separate them. This is an example of Kalidasa, Upama Kalidasasya. For what? How Ishvara, Vagartha viva sampraktau, Vagartha pratipattaye. To understand this word meaning connection, Jagatah Pitarau Vande. I salute Parameshvara and Parvati. Who are they? Jagatah Pitarau Vande, Parvati Parameshvarau. How are they connected? Inseparably. The word expression of Shakti, Parvati, is inseparably connected with Ishvara. Jagata Ihyadhi Yukta. All connected. So, in this way, Japadhyanam will be both word meaning and contemplation. Then what? After this much is known, how should dhyanam be? Ajyadharaya srotasasamam saralachintanam viralataf param. What is better in contemplation? Better than interleaved, broken contemplation to a contemplation which is smooth and same. We'll see when it come back. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.